This is your Daily 5 for Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. There is a YouTube content creator whose channel is titled The Nth Review that I am a fan of and a Patreon supporter of, and has posted a video titled The End of Deus Ex, which is about 3 hours long, and it is mostly a re-review of Deus Ex Mankind Divided, but it also does get into the other games and the Deus Ex universe as a whole, which at the current time is in somewhat of kind of a cryo freeze. There's really no information on much of anything as far as what's going to come next in the series, if anything ever does, because it was bought up by a portfolio outfit titled the Embracer Group, and they basically killed the in-progress third game that seemed to be at least in the early stages of production. And the only thing that was announced, which was mentioned by Nick, the author of the video, at the end in the credits, he brings up that the Deus Ex Remaster appears to be at least on an indefinite hold if it ever actually comes out, or who knows what form it'll be. And this was announced a little while ago. It was supposed to come out actually, I think, this week. And because of the negative response it got, it has been basically put on the shelf, and really nobody knows if it will come out at all. If you've never seen it, in comparison to the original game, it looked slightly better, but some people had some real problems with some of the decisions on changing certain artistic elements. Now, the author, Nick, and I would say I was kind of in this group too, I don't really care, and neither does he from what he says, what it was going to look like, because the base game, you either like that aesthetic or you don't. I have no problem with the way the original Deus Ex looks. And I was never going to buy this to begin with because I don't need it on console. I have it on PC. And honestly, your cell phone could probably run it at 30 times as much speed as a PC at the time would have when it came out. But the idea of so what he says is it's unfortunate that now this won't have a console release because there currently is none for the original game, and that is due to people having a negative reaction to it. And that would seem to imply, although I don't want to speak for him, but this is my sense of it, that it would have been better for the game to be released, even if there were some unfortunate design changes, and have a version available for people than nothing. And I started to think about that because to my mind, and I want to be very clear, this is a stellar video. I'm going to link to it in the show notes. This is no criticism towards the Nth Review as a channel or Nick as a reviewer. It was a great video. I had a blast with it. But I started thinking about this idea. Well, is it better to have an inferior version of a game that you can play or no version at all? And then I started thinking about what remasters are generally trying to do. And remasters at least seem to often be to either get old players to come back to a game because there's been some kind of improvement, or to get new players to play something that they otherwise wouldn't have because there's a new version available that is compatible with modern consoles and at least looks somewhat better than the graphics at the time. But again, that's an aesthetic decision. You may, as I do, prefer the older graphics to what they were doing here. And I thought, I don't know that a remaster that has an immediate reaction like this from certainly the older community that loved the original game, which I would put myself as part of, if you've already lost those people, how many new players are you really going to get with a remaster like this? Now, maybe as Nick, I think, is saying here, maybe people wouldn't care. They would buy it anyway. They would play it. That's possible. But to achieve a level of success that would justify the remaster, even as superficial as this looks, and there is no guarantee that it, in fact, plays at all well even on modern hardware. Because let's not forget, the GTA games were released, and they played terribly. So if you are alienating the one group, which would probably be the biggest of the group, is the people who were fans from way back to buy a remastered version, and there's no guarantee that new players would even be interested or play a game that may not perform all that well, in that particular instance, is the remaster being released, even in an inferior state, a good idea? Is it, in fact, better than having no game at all? Because I don't know what third audience a remaster would be aiming at. It would seem to be, again, older players who have already rejected it because they don't like the way that it's gone, or new players, which, again, even if the game performs perfectly, it's certainly not a modern-looking game by any stretch of the imagination, which a lot of modern gamers want ray tracing and all these modern graphics. It's not that. So they would have to adopt an older style of gameplay for, again, somebody like me would appreciate. But I don't know how many new fans you bring on board to hopefully spark enthusiasm and get another game going. So I guess for me, the answer to is it better to have an inferior game or no game at all, I think based on what a remaster tries to accomplish, probably better not to have anything at all. Later.